Matthew, and you're listening to the Sandspur Hour on 91.5 WPRK, Winter Park, Florida, the best in basement radio, and the voice of Rollins College.
My name's Amir Sadeh.
And I'm Olivia Matthews.
And I'm Greg Golden. And for the next hour, we have Rollins news, national news, and international news from a Rollins perspective. And Amir, tell us what they've won.
They've won us. By that, interesting perspectives on news, culture, America, everywhere else but America, etc. This week we are going to be talking about a lot of things. We're going to be talking about the Olympics, which are coming up. Great. Sochi. It starts this Friday, so that'll be very interesting and very fun. We actually have an interview with a student about her interesting relationship to the Olympics and her father's interesting relationship to the Olympics, so we'll definitely be playing that. We will also be doing another edition of College or Cray, which is going to be interesting. It's my turn, so I'm going to see if we can stump these chumps, as they would say. It's a colloquial. I don't mean your chump. It's just that's what the saying is.
Okay.
Chump. No. And then we also have. We will be talking about the death of Philip Seymour Hoffman, a very tragic loss, and many of the films, and I kind of look back on his life, and many other things. So, yes, many other things to talk about. But first, the Olympics is this Friday, folks. Sochi Olympics. Winter Games has been already riddled with much controversy from the anti-gay stance of the Russian home country, as well as threats of violence and with the Chechen rebels. But we have a student on our campus, Tally Stokes, who has a very interesting relationship to the games. Her father was a member of one of the Jamaican bobsled team, the famous Jamaican bobsled team, if you've ever seen Cool Runnings, which is very awesome movie.
Do we know how accurate that movie was?
Well, it's actually she talked about it.
Or was it just
a
fictionalized?
It was a amalgamation of the team, which included her father and her uncle, and so it's like you can't necessarily point to one actor and say, oh, that represents so and so. But it's like for a Disney movie, it's it's accurate as it can be.
Just like Sleeping Beauty, totally off.
Yeah, I don't think Sleeping Beauty was actually based on any real events, though. So, I don't think...
But even from the original...
Oh, you mean the original, the Grimm's Fairy Tale?
Exactly.
Okay. Because I was about to be like, Greg, I don't think that's even, based... I don't think that's real. I don't think dwarves exist.
It's real to Greg, and that's what matters.
Sleeping Beauty?
Oh, I'm sorry. That's the one where she pressed her finger.
Amir.
I'm sorry. I don't live that life.
Step your game up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have to set it up? Sweet.
Yes.
Greg has it set up, so folks, sit back, relax, and listen to a very interesting interview from a very interesting girl. Talk a little about your father and his role in the Winter Olympics.
My dad joined the team in the 1988 Games in Calgary for the first time. He wasn't trained to be an Olympian. He just went to visit his brother in the Olympics, and one of the teammates got injured, and he volunteered to take his position, and that was the first games ever. And I have a lot of respect for him for just jumping in and to help his brother out. So that's basically how he got involved, and he's been involved ever since, getting new members and trying to just make us qualify for all the other Olympics that have come, like Sochi. So he's going there today. Actually, he's on the plane right now as we speak. So.
Speaking about Sochi, one of the big things that have been going on in this Olympics specifically is the controversy with Russia's anti-gay stance in its politics. My question is, what are your thoughts on the political turmoil in Sochi and the statement that the Olympic Games aren't a place for political activism?
I think the Olympics is the perfect place for political activism, and I think that's what everybody needs to go there and be supportive, but they need to forget about all the hatred that they have for everybody else and come together in support of the games. It's just about the beauty of the Olympic Games is that even through war, you're doing a sport, you're coming together as the world comes together. And I think other people also need to be aware that they are going to an unsafe environment and to protect themselves before thinking about, oh, I'm here for my gold medal or anything. Just remember that your safety is the most important thing. So if that means that you don't say anything or you don't shout and scream about how openly gay you are or something, but just remember to protect yourself. And I think people need to remember that when they go there. But it's also about the beauty of coming together as the world comes together and just being here for the sport as well. So I also do think it's the perfect place to make your statement. Just remember that your safety comes first.
You actually have some very interesting athletic aspirations of your own. Could you maybe elaborate on that?
Currently, I'm trying to train for the 2018 Olympics in Korea. I don't know what convinced me to start this, but I've always been a really athletic person, and I've always been in sports. And because my family has this great history of doing all these crazy sports, I was like, you know what, I'm going to give it a shot. And my dad and my uncle were very supportive of it, and my family was very supportive as well. But I am doing something that no one else in my age would try and do, so that's kind of adventurous.
That actually goes into another question. How did your father and your family respond to kind of maybe you saying, this is something I want to do? It's definitely not a dream most people kind of have.
When the first time I told my dad, he was like, are you sure? Are you sure you think because I know how you feel about the cold, and I know you're not really a person that loves to be outside in the cold all the time. So when I told him, he was just like, okay, we're going to put you in the bobsled, see how you like it, and go on from there. He didn't plan for me to go to Korea. He was like, we're going to give you one chance, and if you don't like it, that can be okay with me. But if you love it, we need to take it seriously. And as I said, Dad, I'm serious about this. My uncle was very, very happy about it because he thinks that it's a story to be told that the Stokeses are returning to bobsled, and he was very excited. He was more excited than I think my dad was. But my dad's like, my little girl is going to be in a bobsled and she might crash and I break some bones. But my uncle's very supportive, and he's my coach right now, so we're having a lot of fun as well.
So you mentioned how your dad says that you have to, if you want to do this, the training's going to be intense. What does training for the bobsled entail? It's
a lot of sprints and lifting, a lot of heavy lifting. I also just need my legs, a lot of leg work as well. It's also a lot of mental work, which I think no one pays attention to, because when you're in that study, you have to focus on every curve and how you're going to enter the curve, and if you enter the curve late or early. And that's the part that I'm going to struggle with the most, definitely for myself, because being physically fit and prepared for that is easy, because you just have to show up to the gym and work out and do the best you can. But to take your head out of your mind and just focus on the curve is very hard for me, because you can't focus on what's behind you, because if you make a wrong turn or you pull the reins too hard and you slide out or something like that, you have to leave it behind you. You can't go into the next curve like that. So it's a lot of meditating and sitting down and just going over and over again in your head. So that's the part that I think people forget about most of the time about this sport.
Do you have any thoughts about Polo Jones being on the Olympic team this year?
I think that's fantastic, because that's what Jamaica's been doing, is taking track athletes and turning them into bobsledders. And I think I have so much respect for her for diving into a sport that's completely out of what she's normally doing. And I really think she's going to do great in Sochi. I think they have a fantastic team, and I'm looking forward to seeing what she can do in the future as well.
Very cool. Finally, what is the reaction you get from others, or whether it's your peers or whatnot, about your father's experience and then your future goals?
A lot of my friends are like, are you sure you want to do this? Because as a teenager, being 18, a lot of my friends are like, she's joking, or she's not really going to do this. But I have those friends who are like, I'm so supportive of you, I'm really proud of you, you're doing something, you're going on an adventure that I would never have dared to go on. My best friend Lauren and my best friend Trina were very like, oh my goodness, I can't believe you're doing this, I have so much respect for you. And that made me realize that I can do this. And they reminded me that you're going to have people that don't want to see you succeed. And just the few people in my corner that are there cheering for me, I'm going to do this for them. And I'm not going to think about all the people like, oh, you're from Jamaica, you can't do this. Oh, Jamaicans aren't really like sledders. And my friends have been really supportive in that aspect, so I'm grateful for that.
Well, thank you so much, Tally.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
And that should prime everyone for Sochi.
The big Olympics this Friday.
The biggest.
Maybe not the biggest Olympics, but a very important Olympics nonetheless. No, it was very interesting to talk to her and kind of get that background and really understand not only what it means to be the daughter or the relative of an Olympian, but really to hold those aspirations yourself and the steps and the dedication and really the sacrifice that she's going to have to go through over the next few years to attain her own goal.
Pretty amazing. And, I remembered another segment. The State of the Union.
State of the Union. Yes, I saw the State of the Union. A bit underwhelming, to be perfectly honest. A lot of the same things, very generic. To be honest, I think at this point, Obama is not, especially until the 2014 election results come in, as to see what the final makeup of the Senate is going to be. His last major Senate makeup, to see if things are going to change for his last 2 years in office. Right now, he made some broad claims like, oh, we'll finally close Gitmo, and we'll finally get everybody, so at least start getting them out of Afghanistan, and we're gonna make healthcare work and keep the overhaul going. And but he obviously includes a little jab. It's like, as long as Congress is willing to work, and it's like the American people are done with this bickering. And but it was very, I think for the most part, watching the State of the Union, it was just very underwhelming. It was very much like, okay, it wasn't like State of the Unions in the past. I think especially last year when it was there was just a lot still going on. There was still the high of just getting reelected, things like, or, it's like, oh, or, it was like that election season high or whatnot. So I don't know. I don't know necessarily. I don't want to say that the State of the Union is indicative to what's going to happen over the year, but that's kind of what the point of the State of the Union is. And if the State of the Union is supposed to be indicative of 2014 is going to be a bit underwhelming. I mean, I don't know. Well, we'll see what happens, but it just doesn't seem like much is going to get done, especially with the current Congress and the approval ratings of both the Congress and the president at the moment.
It just seemed like a campaign speech.
It really did. Only it was a campaign speech for Senate Democrats. It's like, hey, we have a lot of really cool ideas, but if these Republicans are here, they're going to stand in the way of them. So get them out. So yeah, I wasn't impressed, to be 100% frank. I wasn't impressed by it, but we'll see. Actions speak louder than words.
I was just thinking that. So, that was the State of the Union. What would the status update of the Union be? Boil it down.
Status update of the Union. Sorry, healthcare isn't working like I want it to. Sorry, none of my promises.
You're out of characters.
Darn. Okay, so it's like a Twitter. So if it's a Twitter update, it's sorry, things suck. Blame Republicans. Vote Dem 2014. That would have been the tweet of the Union. That's the tweet of the Union. I mean, but to be perfectly honest, it's what's going to happen? What do Americans have to look forward to? Healthcare is supposed to be done for the most part, which it's at the end of the day, the healthcare system is, if it breaks even in support or sign-ups, we're going to be lucky. Does it do a whole lot? Great. It gives health insurance options to millions of Americans who wouldn't have them, because now all Americans have to buy insurance. So course it's going to give health insurance to Americans who don't have it, because they have to have health insurance now. We look at the success of the withdrawal, and people still think that it's taking way too long to get out of Afghanistan. So the only way to assess success is what happens when we leave, and we're not going to know until we leave. I bet what's going to happen is it's going to be overrun by another dictatorial regime once we're gone, because the country is not strong enough to stand on its own. Karzai is having trouble, and there's, of course, going to be inter-regional fighting. So we have to hope to God that doesn't spread to Iraq or influence Iraq in any way, which is already being influenced by the Shias over the Sunnis, who for years were oppressed by Sunnis. Guns aren't anything on anybody's radar, even on top of the multiple shootings that happened over the last month. I mean, and immigration, the best thing that can happen for the Obama administration is if they do something with the DREAM Act over the next 2 years. I think that's his last-ditch effort. Because really, when it comes down to looking back at the president's retrospective, blame it on Congress, if you will, blame it on the Republican stalemate, and that has to play a big role to it as to his success. But to be frank, even the initiatives that he ran, even the things that it was solely in his court, they haven't panned out the way he wanted to. And the next 2 years, the final 2 years, if he's able to get that Democratic majority that he wants, will be his defining 2 years. These 2 years can either make it to where, okay, well, he just kind of fizzled out and he just gave up, which I wouldn't blame him, because it's been stale wall throughout the whole issue. Or it's going to be, okay, wow, he was able to do this, and, it was great. It was awesome. So, these next 2 years, I feel, are going to be the two most important years of his presidency out of all of them. Just simply because the first 6 years haven't really brought anything of great fruition.
Mm-hmm. So you also wanted to talk about some sad news over the weekend with Philip Seymour Hoffman's passing. And he, of course, an actor who had won an Academy Award for his role in Capote and considered that his greatest role and a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And he's passed of what's being called a drug overdose. And what do you think will be most remembered, maybe outside of Capote, about his legacy?
I think that Philip Seymour Hoffman was one of the most versatile actors I'd seen in a very long time. Somebody who, early on in his career, was making amazing movies. I mean, I remember one of his early roles was Scent of a Woman, with Al Pacino, Chris O'Donnell, and he kind of plays the bad guy. And he's fairly young in the movie. This is one of his first roles. And he was just great. He was really good at playing this kind of somewhat villainous character with this, quasi-amorality to him. And, then you see a few years later he makes a movie like Twister, which, he's in the movie Twister, which is his role is much more comedic and much more kind of ditzy, if you will, and he's, funnier. And then if you see later on in his career, it's very much like he can play the very serious, straight-laced role, like a Capote or what have you. Or he can play something that is really funny and really interesting. And I think the truth behind all of his roles really is he is able to play a character, or he's able to play a character with a lot of honesty, a lot of truth. And the work I've seen of his, it's always been like, this is an Anthony Hopkins type actor. I always like his work. It's like if I know he's in the movie, it's gonna be a good movie. It's gonna be a classic. Or even if it's not like win a whole bunch of Oscars, I know that his performance is going to be spot on, or it's going to be really interesting. So, I would think. What do you think, Liv?
I would agree. He's just very talented person and be able to jump in. You know, he had a very diverse, set of roles that he's played throughout the years, and just to be able to jump into every one and just make it so different and interesting. I think one of my a notable one for me would be Doubt, that he was nominated for an Oscar for with Meryl Streep and Amy Adams and Viola Davis, and just to show that play and then the film adaptation itself is just so full of conflict and mystery, and for him to play that with such even though he's supposedly the bad guy in the movie, to play that with such sincerity was he was wonderful to watch, and so to see somebody so great leave so soon is it's sad.
Mm-hmm. And so reports are he leaves behind a partner and 3 children, and presumably there will be something at the Oscars if he's not just remembered in their sort of remembrance montage sort of.
And this is
thing.
actually the second actor who has unfortunately left in the middle of filming a well-known franchise.
Yeah.
Because at the moment they're in post-production for Mockingjay 1, Part 1, and we're currently still filming Part 2, which is going to be a back-to-back production. So, obviously, the first actor was Fast and Furious star Chris
Paul Walker.
Paul Walker. Thank you. Let's get this names mixed up. Yes, so it'll be interesting. That's one of the first things people were thinking about is, so what's going to happen in that movie, and what's going to happen to his role. But it'll be very interesting to see, because obviously that plays a lot into what happens. So a lot of people online and on Twitter obviously upset and are sad to have lost such a great luminary in acting.
And later in the weekend, turning the page to sports. You saw that
Sports.
He
said sports.
Yeah, you probably watched it, even though it was sports. The Super Bowl.
I watched the commercials.
Okay.
I didn't watch the actual game. Nah, I was busy last night doing work, but I did watch a bunch of commercials, especially on YouTube. So I do have my favorite commercials by far. So, but Greg, since you are the sports guy, tell us about the game. All I know is the score, and it seems like it was a blowout. Maybe you can explain that to some, including me, as to how that happened.
Yeah, it was okay. It was just, usually in a Super Bowl, you'll have like one sort of atypical play, whether it's a kick return or a successful onside kick that you saw the Saints try against the Colts to begin the second half of their Super Bowl, or an interception for a touchdown, or a mishap that leads to a safety. And you had all of those things happen against the Broncos. And so it was just an extremely surprising failure on the part of what was a favored Broncos team, with Peyton Manning, of course, their leader, and the one that many thought was going to just
To win.
steamroll, as they have throughout the entire rest of the playoffs, and they got steamrolled.
As somebody who is, dumb when it comes to football, and all I think is, oh my God, Peyton Manning. Isn't he like one of those Manning boys? Aren't they awesome?
He is.
Like
How'd you
Patriots
know?
Manning? What? Obviously, if you know nothing of football, you're like, oh my God, all my money goes on the Broncos. Who the hell's a Seahawk? Who's a Richard Sherman? I don't know these people, but I know Peyton Manning because I see him on the commercials. What's, I guess, in your opinion, happened that, was it just these guys, was the Broncos on an off night? What was there? Was there something that just even that they didn't do that the Seahawks did do? What was the thing that kind of either side that really was like, this is why they won or this is why the other side lost?
Well, Peyton Manning has a number of famous playoff losses. I think if you look at his record, he has more losses than wins, even from having that probably changed this year, but before this year, having gone to 2 Super Bowls, he still had more exits from the playoffs where his teams failed in the first round or the second round. And part of that is he doesn't have a great record in these big games against great all-time defenses. And you see that in the amount of times that he lost to the Patriots, who were always bringing all-time defenses, and in their loss to the Ravens last year, who had an above-average defense, definitely. And it just seems like something out there, I don't know what the Seahawks were necessarily doing in disguising their coverages, because it goes kind of without saying that Manning can simply look at the field and be able to pretty much know where everyone is going to be 2 seconds, 4 seconds, 6 seconds into the play, just because of how much he studies the other team. But I don't know why, but this was just one of those cases where he just... Right. So you even knew the score.
I knew this. Oh, no, I definitely knew the score. I knew that. That's why I knew it was a blowout, but I was like, oh, my God, I didn't put no money on the Broncos. Hey.
Who are you going for, Greg?
This is just one of those things, and the Sandspur's advisor is going to not like hearing this. I really didn't have a team going in. Didn't have a rooting interest, really. I thought it would be fine if Manning won and would be the first quarterback with two different teams, and great story. He sort of deserves it.
Could be on a Visa card, if you will, like one of those Visa stories.
Exactly. Priceless. No, that's MasterCard.
No, that's MasterCard, but sometimes the
Visas, Morgan Freeman ones.
Visa.
Those Manning boys. They won the Super Bowls.
Those Manning boys. One of
Done
them
it again.
made it to the playoffs. The other one won. I don't know.
So, for the Seahawks, I think it would have been exciting, and I mean it is, that they won. I know that my grandma's assisted living home was probably pretty pumped in Seattle, jumping out of their seats, little old ladies. So, every time the Seahawks scored, everyone did 10 push-ups, no, what?
I don't think they...
Well, anyway.
I would be be excited if they just got out of their wheelchairs, to be quite honest.
Yeah. So, that was fun to think about. And, of course, I think it was deserved that such a great defense and also their offense led by Russell Wilson. Hey, they won the game. Give them the trophy, Why not?
Yeah, I as I said, I didn't watch the game, but I've always rooted for the underdog, especially when I have absolutely no
rooting interest.
Rooting interest, thank you, in the sport. So, for all intents and purposes, my team won. So, because I don't know what a Seahawk is. So, how about you, Liv? Were you watching the game last night?
No, unfortunately.
No. Okay. But one thing I did watch afterwards, which I like to make a concerted effort, and I'm really glad that they did it this year, was they posted all the commercials a little ahead of time on YouTube, which is fun because for somebody like me who's like, I got homework to do, or I'm going to watch the TCM special on the Oscars instead, I was able to still enjoy my commercials. And there were some, Greg, so obviously since you watched the game, were there any commercials that you really enjoy that you thought were like, haha, this is hilarious?
Certainly in my
party spaces, everyone was getting frustrated that everything was a car commercial, selling lots of cars.
People are selling cars.
Bruce Willis was telling people to hug people, and then it was like for Acura or something.
Yes,
what?
the car safety one.
Yeah, whatever. So
Greg, he wants you. Bruce Willis is telling you to be safe.
No, he was like, buy a Honda or something.
He was saying buy a Honda because they're safe. It's like giving a hug to your best friend. No crash dummies.
We're in some like gray qualitative wording here. You don't have to buy some car to be safe, Amir.
Greg, sometimes buying a car is the only thing that's safe, including an Acura. Any Acura dealership. No, I'm sorry.
It wasn't even for them. But anyway.
No, I agree. There were a lot of. Those are some of the ones I kind of skipped through, or any of the ones that I was like, I don't need to buy a car. But I did see that one because it was Bruce Willis's face, and it had #HugFest. So I'm like, I gotta watch this because I'm like, what is Bruce Willis doing talking about hugs?
Mm-hmm.
So that was funny. One of the ones I actually really liked was from Radio Shack.
That one was good.
Yeah. Well, and those who don't know, it starts off by a Radio Shack getting a call, and it was like two employees, and one of the employees picks up the phone. The other one asks, who's calling? And then the employee's like, the 80s called. They want their store back. And then a bunch of like 80s people from the 80s, like Hulk Hogan, Sergeant Slaughter, Chip Star, Eric Estrada, Mary Lou Retton, Alf. They just all came.
Dee Snider.
Dee Snider from Twisted Sister. They all just ran in. They like tore down the store and like took everything, and then it was pretty much to promote that like Radio Shack, like all the new Radio Shack locations are all being like remodeled, and so that it's like actually up to date with like today's technology and whatnot. Then I thought it was just a very cute concept and very like tongue in cheek, like, yeah, we know nobody comes to Radio Shack anymore because it's like a relic of the past, and you can get all your electronic needs at other various different stores, but trust us, we're still very much alive and good, and we're very cool, and we're hip. And I don't know, as somebody who loves the 80s, watching like Hulk Hogan and Dee Snider and Sergeant Slaughter run through the store as everybody's working for the weekend is playing in the background. To me, that was just like, I'm in heaven. This is 45 seconds of heaven.
Yeah, that was one of the better like surprise ones where it was, full of cameos and such. Mm. There are other ones like with a James Franco. That one was okay. That was still more about like explosions and stuff. Whatever, that one and the Rob Riggle one before that.
Although there were two big film trailer thingamajigs that happened. Transformers, Age of Extinction, and Amazing Spider-Man 2. Very excited for the second Spider-Man, not so much for Transformers 4.
They should have just compacted that title and be like, Transformers.
Lols. That's bad. It's weird because Shia LaBeouf isn't in it.
What will we ever do?
Makes it weird.
You picked the wrong thing, Amir.
Sorry, it has Dinobots in it. Is that the weird thing? No, I had to search about it because I'm like, why is there no Shia LaBeouf in this trailer? Isn't he supposed to be like the golden boy? And he's like, nah, I'm not in it. And now we have Dinobots. Which, to be perfectly honest, if I had the choice between Wahlberg and Dinobots and Shia LaBeouf and Megan Fox, thank you. I was going to say Megan Ryan. She's definitely not in that film. I would definitely take the Dinobots. So, I don't know. Maybe I will check it out. I don't know. It's a sequel, but not a reboot, and I don't know how it relates, but
it's a kind of a reboot-y sequel.
It's a rebooty. They're marketing it as a. They're marketing it
as a reboot-quel.
It's supposed to be a sequel, but it's very much a reprookquel. It's supposed to be like
a reprookquel.
A reprookquel. I don't know my words, folks. Why are we even? We should jump to College or Cray before our lovely Olivia Matthews needs to run out.
Okay. Tell the folks how we play.
No. I thought you had class.
Oh, I do have class. Let's
Yeah.
go. My bad.
Yeah, I thought so.
Okay, tell the people how we play.
Okay, folks, this is College of Cray. This is how we play. One of our co-anchors each week brings up 3 college stories. 2 of them are true, 1 of them are false, and they have to guess which one is the cray out of the 2 colleges.
3.
Well, out of 3. Yeah, you're right. Whatever. Sorry. So, first story. The students at a Wisconsin college, Concordia University, have nearly 4 miles of underground connecting tunnels and hallways that allow the students to escape the cold. That's 1.
What school is this?
Concordia,
And where is this?
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. Okay.
2, fraternity brothers, Sigma Chi fraternity at the College of William and Mary, are in a great deal of trouble after an email was sent called Saving the Sluts, after the university paid $26 million for their new fraternity complex. That's the second story.
Mm-hmm.
So after getting paid $26 million to build the whole thing, they're under fire by many on campus saying they need to lose their complex because of this horrible email that they sent out.
Okay.
The final story is at the University of Texas, Austin. To commemorate the 200th anniversary of the Alamo, they are going to be in the works of constructing a 1.5 foot replica of the Alamo to be put on the middle of the campus in a commemoration of the 200th anniversary. So 200, 1/2.
What?
It's going to be a replica of the Alamo, pretty much. But it's going to be like completely downsized, like a miniaturized version of the Alamo in the middle of campus.
The Alamo in the middle of campus.
Are you sure?
No, like I'm just like thinking about it.
Okay.
Alamo, nasty email, underground tunnels.
I think it's the nasty email. Zzz.
I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with nasty email.
Wrong. Actually, that one was the true one. They wrote this horrible email, Sigma Chi fraternity, about how you're lucky that you're men and you're able to go around and do things with women, although using much more horrid terms that I can't say on the news. After this year, the school had paid $26 million for a whole new fraternity complex, so a lot of people are very upset about it. That one is true.
Wow, okay.
The other one that's true is Wisconsin actually does have 4 miles worth of underground tunnels that students, this one specific university, that they can walk through when it gets cold. So actually professors find it hilarious that students are able to like walk through these tunnels in like shorts and like, t-shirts, run when outside it's like millions and like, not millions, but it's super, super cold. The one story that I did make up though is that yeah, they aren't building a replica of the Alamo. Alamo is only 178 years old this year.
Should have known.
Yeah, I know.
Should have known.
Come on, guys.
If only I
Get
had
on the game.
remembered when that Alamo was.
So, yes, so that is College or Cray. This time, I was able to stump these 2 friends of mine. And
you
next
got it-
time, it's Greg's. Greg's turn.
Greg.
You got it right last week, was that right? I know I got it wrong.
I think I got
Yeah,
it.
that's- yeah.
I got it right, yeah.
Okay. So maybe you have like 2 points.
Yay! I'm so special. I'm good at this game.
Maybe you get 2 points when you stump the other people. So maybe you have 3 points.
Oh, snap.
It's like Canadian doubles.
Canadian doubles. I've never played. Is that like a poker term?
Nah, it's tennis.
Oh, okay, thank you.
It's just 2-on-1.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yep.
That's awesome.
So, Liv, you got to go to class. Okay, go on to class. Amir and I will carry the rest of the show. And part of the rest of that show will be, we can briefly mention tomorrow night, our next Winter Park Institute event at the college.
Oh, yeah.
Is Terry Teachout's talk about his biography of Duke Ellington, the man behind the mask. And that will be in the Tidkey music building.
That'll be interesting.
Yes.
Who is Duke Ellington, for those who don't know who Duke Ellington is?
Duke Ellington was a prolific and amazing jazz composer. And he has a number of amazing timeless tunes. He composed with Billy Strayhorn was his main collaborator, and he, besides hits like Take the A Train and just drawing a blank on the next one that was about to come out of my mouth. But he had also composed a number of songs that were like centered around Shakespearean plays.
Yes, I am actually now looking at it. No, that's actually really cool. Very awesome. And I mean, Duke Ellington, as you said, very prolific jazz player. I mean, really defined the genre and is one of those who, when you think of jazz, you think of Ellington. You think of just a really classy and very, well-known craftsman.
One of the innovators of stride piano.
Did not know that.
Do you know what that is?
No, I don't.
You didn't even know that?
I didn't even know that.
It's when you play like the bass line with one hand and the melody with the other. And so that came about in the 1920s when, after the Great Depression struck, you couldn't afford a big band. And so having a piano player be able to play and sound like an entire orchestra,
it's awesome.
Play a complete piece himself was, it was good. It saved some money.
For sure.
Just get the piano player, Now you can just get an MP3 player.
With all of his works on 1 gigabyte.
Maybe if they're MP3s, not waves.
I mean, I'm assuming if they're MP3s.
So that'll be Tuesday night at 7.
Well, that'll be awesome. I'm trying to see what else. Well, next week I actually will promote. We will have Sabrina Kent on. She will be talking about many LGBT issues that have gone on recently, from Macklemore's performance at the Grammys to what Florida is currently going through with the fight for equality Florida, trying to have the constitutional amendment banning gay marriage thrown away and overruled. So that'll be very interesting to talk to her. So that's something to look forward to for next week.
And Rollins basketball?
I know what it is.
That's a good start.
Yes. Are they playing a game?
They are. On Wednesday.
Yay!
In the Alphon Sports Center. Those are men's and women's. But the men's team had a great win last Wednesday.
Awesome. Against,
Undefeated Florida Southern.
Wow.
And it was packed.
Oh, snap.
I heard one person say, "I've never seen it this full."
We would hope so if it's packed. It's a quote. You can quote me on it.
Yes.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah, and Florida Southern traveled well. They took the bus. No, wait.
I thought you were talking about the game. Wait, they were traveling?
No.
Oh.
They had a lot of people in the stands. They had like a whole side and wrap around a little on our side.
Very cool.
So,
very cool.
Next time, Tar fans, come out and make them come sit higher up, because they have that another section that they push out during like graduation and stuff. You know the one I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about, yeah.
So does our listeners.
They know. They can imagine it with their mind's eye.
So
what a
just
beautiful eye.
a fantastic game that went into overtime as well, with a comeback that saw Rollins tie the game up from 6 points down with 2 minutes left, and then in overtime just made all their free throws to put the game away.
That's awesome.
And then you know what happened? Stormed the court. That's what happened.
Aww.
Batten down the hatches and all that. What?
Is that? Oh, that's awesome. Everybody
Yes.
storms the court.
Yes.
Oh snap! We won.
Everyone ran out,
Ah!
saying things like, we won.
Is that a verbatim quote?
No.
No. I would assume that there was a jubilation. Jubilation was to have had.
It was
had.
a jubilee.
It was a jubilee, if you will.
So I would imagine that this Wednesday's game will, see a little bit of a spike in attendance, what with that great win on last Wednesday.
Do we know who we're going to be against this week?
We're pretty close to finding out.
Okay, interesting. It seems like it's only a matter of
You just
time.
seem enthralled.
No, I'm sorry. I fell asleep there for a second.
Oh,
Because-
right.
No,
because you were so enthralled.
I was very enthralled. No, it's my narcolepsy's acting up.
Okay. As long as it's clinically proven. Do you have a doctor's note?
I carry a doctor with me on my backpack. He fits in there. He's actually he's like my WebMD, except that he actually went to medical school and doesn't keep on telling me that I need to amputate my leg for some reason. Psh, that's weird. WebMD. You're unreliable.
They're going to play Tampa.
Very cool.
And you know what RollinsSports.com is reporting?
What are they reporting?
Rollins beats St. Leo in another thriller.
Oh, snap.
That was
Thrilla.
on Saturday.
Thrilla in Manila.
So that's pretty thrilling. And then, of course, you can read on RollinsSports.com the recap and watch video of last Wednesday's game. You'll see it under Upset. The Tars knock number 2 Mocs from ranks. They're the Moccasins.
Oh, very cool.
Florida Southern.
Moccasins.
They were in Division 2, which Rollins belongs to. What's the team we're talking about? Florida Southern. They were number 2 in the country in Division 2. 2 for 2.
Well, we beat them 0-0.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. That wasn't cool. But we beat them, which is important. And it's nice. It's nice to have spirit for the school and especially our teams, our basketball team and whatnot. So that's always fun. Because there's always like huge spirit for the soccer team, but sometimes the other sports can feel lonely. I think basketball, especially now with this win over Florida Southern, is getting a ton of excitement and attention, and fans are just gonna go wild.
Mm-hmm. And the Lady Tars, they're number 13 in Division 2 right now. And they also play on Wednesday. They play at 5:30, and the men's team plays at 7:30.
Oh.
A doubleheader, if you will,
Very cool.
with a little bit of space in between.
All right.
So that's something to look forward
We
to.
got them Lady Tars. We got them Man Tars.
Yep, Mantars.
Man Tars.
And, there's, we're being filmed right now. That
Yes,
must be
we
why
are.
you're, so, what are you?
Well, I'm saying that. I'm assuming that for those who would be interested in filming our beautiful faces,
In filming us.
filming us, or filming other aspects of the campus, learning how to film, video production, all those different types of things. I think there's a meeting that's going to occur sometime within the relative future, right?
You're absolutely right. It's actually tonight.
Tonight?
That's
Oh,
right.
snap. Great. Can you tell me a little bit more about what the meeting is going to be about? Maybe the time, the place, things of that nature?
I could, but, I'd like to invite a special guest who's in our studio right now. It's the multimedia manager of our video department. It's John Bergeron.
Hey, Greg.
Hey, how's it going?
It is going.
How's filming going?
So far, so good. I'm trying a couple new things for this episode.
Good. So, what can you tell us about this interest meeting tonight and getting involved with the Sandspur's video department?
Oh, well, the meeting is at 7 o'clock, and we will be talking about different things you can do to get involved with Sandspur Video, which is a new thing at the Sandspur. So we're bridging the gap between print and digital media, making it multimedia, and we're very excited.
Yeah, and right now you can see online there's a video that interviews some of the Sandspur's staff members. There's one about Rollins parking and our new parking lot on campus.
Mm-hmm. Including interviews with students and their opinions about parking.
That's right.
How troublesome that can be at times.
And then I think we had another one come up last night that was
The Olympics.
the Olympics.
A video about perspective, just question and answer
Yeah.
about the Olympics and some fun questions.
Yep. All Rollins students participating. And so see if you or your friend showed up in it.
Absolutely.
That's what I would say to our listeners.
Yes, and then we will be having our next video, I believe, is a Valentine's Day video.
Aw.
Interviewing students about their Valentines.
Yep. And so tonight at that meeting, what are some sort of roles that people can get engaged in if they were to join the video team?
Oh, well, we have, we need editors, like video editors, and people to film, and we have inventory and things like that to go through, lots of old videos and things like that. So if you're into archiving or you're really organized and want to watch old videos, that could be fun. And I think that's about it for the main thing. Oh, music editing and stuff like that.
Sure.
So, yeah. And then if you have any creative ideas for types of videos and things like that, those are always welcome.
Mm-hmm. And so, again, that's tonight at 7 on the 5th floor of Mills. And pizza will be provided. So all students...
Free food is always fun.
Yes, food that you don't have to pay for, Amir. That's how we like to call it on radio.
Yes. Food that you don't have to pay for. I was
You blew it.
I'm sorry. You had time to press the button, Greg. You had time to press the button.
Well,
Got a
it's
slow,
pretty obvious now.
slow trigger finger. So, that's our show just about.
Yes.
We're not done yet, though.
I'm gonna... Yes.
So, what about if you're interested in just writing for the paper?
If you're just interested in writing up the paper, you can come at the Sandspur meeting as well. It's at 6 p.m., though, where we have our article assignment, where we talk about what you want to write. I mean, a lot of it is controlled by you. If you want to write an interesting expose on a certain aspect of the school, or maybe a topic of sports or pop culture or news and politics, we're welcome to all ideas and suggestions. Just come on by at 6 p.m. during our article assignment meeting, and we'll be there to just bounce off ideas off you. You guys can bounce ideas off of us, and it'll be glorious, and it'll be wonderful, and it'll be news and journalism at its finest.
And pizza.
And pizza. Will pizza be there as well?
Pizza will make an appearance.
Pizza will make an appearance, folks.
So all students and members of the Rollins community are welcome to show up and show us what you got.
And I will be there, and Greg will be there, and we'll all be there. It'll be wonderful.
Yep. It will be. So now we're done.
Now we are done. Next week we will have a lot of things to talk about. Valentine's Day will be coming up. It'll be halfway through the beginning of the Olympics at least, so we got a lot to talk about next week. It'll be fun. It'll be great.
You know, let's do it again sometime.
I can't wait. Greg, never leave me.
Fine. So for this week's Sandspur Hour, I've been Greg Golden.
I've been Amir Sadeh.
John Bergeron.
And we will see you next week on the Sandspur Hour.
See you later, guys.
Bye.